doesn't love a beautiful garden? One that's thoughtfully designed, whether it's large or small. You know, when I design gardens, I think of, well, what do you want it to look like in the end? So thinking of the end in the beginning is so important. Whether you're creating a large estate like this, represented in this drawing done in the 18th century, or a tiny plot in your own backyard, it's all very important. You want to consider the elements of design: texture, form, color. Also, how do you move through the space, paths, and so forth? That's what we're going to explore today. You know, there's something really special about an entrance to a garden. I love coming through a gate, walking along a path, and see lots of beautiful flowers. And that's what I've tried to create here. It's a beautiful time of year because so many of my plants are working together to create an outstanding combination. So why don't we go a little deeper and let me help you understand the combination and why I put this together. I started in the back with tall plants and I come all the way to the path with low plants. In the back, I have that amazing incredible hydrangea. But as you step down, I just want to point out some of the taller plants. There's Cleome, Senorita Rosalita, and for a little contrast, I've thrown in some of that color blaze coleus. They're a sun coleus. And here I've used lime thyme. And just look how its chartreuse foliage contrasts to the tall, spiky flowers of the angel face blue angelonia. In the middle zone of the bed here, you can see this lovely little lantana. It's called Banana Rama Lantana. Well, it's a great performer during the hot, hot sun. Just below it, you'll see Supertunia Bordeaux and Indigo Charm Supertunia. To finish up the composition with this soft, frothy edge, we've used this wonderful lobularia. This is called Snow Princess. And again, it really takes the heat. And believe me, when we're at the peak of summer, on the west side of the house, this bed gets a lot of sun. But because of the genetics in these plants, they're resilient and they keep on blooming. When we return, I visit the Lone Star State and tour a hidden gem with a wonderful design and beautiful water features. I don't know about for you, but for me, I love to see how other people employ certain elements in their garden, like water. To me, water's a real important feature in a garden. It brings movement, the sound, which is so serene, and it reflects the sky. So there's lots of reasons to have water in your garden. We're visiting one of my favorite gardens in Dallas, Texas, and there's several water features I want to show you. We'll start with this one in the front. Just take a look at it. It's a simple, long, rectilinear fountain with a little boy riding a dolphin, the water spraying into it. The sound of the water, well, it's just heavenly. What I like about this fountain is its placement. It's in the front garden, so when guests arrive, they can see it and hear it. If you take a walk along the north side of the house, you soon come upon a beautiful classical fountain, self-contained, and the source is a beautiful lead dolphin spilling into a lead basin that then pours into the larger fountain basin below. And what's not to love about this elegant swimming pool, which wraps around an upper terrace? What I like about this is that the bottom is painted gray, but with water in it, it takes on a beautiful blue color. The scale of this pool, its elegant shape, and its color make it very inviting. The kind of pool you want to jump in on a hot summer day. Now, while this might be the largest pool here, there's still some other surprises, like a wonderful little fountain that's just tucked into the side of the wall. It's the tiniest fountain here, but with loads of personality. You hardly notice it as it's tucked around the beautiful holly fern and surrounded by the fig ivy clinging to the stone. Now, I've saved the grandest water feature for last, and it's all natural. Take a look at this creek that runs across the back of the property. This is Hackberry Creek, which is a tributary off of Turtle Creek. Runs all year long, And the garden extends beyond the creek on the other side. You can see there are little paths that you can follow, and you cross a bridge to see it. And today you can see a big bed of Minton tulips stretching for the light. Gorgeous. And what better way to enjoy the creek than on a boat, floating on the water. Don't you love this little boathouse? It's original to the property. It was built in 1916. The perfect addition. So when you're thinking about your garden, whether it's large or small, make sure you add some form of water. You'll be glad you did. Okay, here we go. When we return, designing your garden's color scheme with some compelling color combinations. I want to introduce you to one of my favorite plants. It's a sedum. It's this one. It's called lemon coral. Isn't it gorgeous? It's one of those constant comment plants. When people come to visit the garden, they always ask about this gorgeous sedum. It's a part of a larger design of plants here that I'd love to share with you. This sedum lemon coral spills out over the edge of the bed onto the pathway. I just love it. It's like molten lava, but in this chartreuse green. And then backing it up is this beautiful ageratum called artist blue. And behind it is a lantana, which the butterflies and hummingbirds love. This one's called luscious marmalade. And then just behind it, back there, it's hard to beat that wonderful color blaze apple brandy. I love the variegation that you can find in the leaf. These plants really know how to put on a show in your garden. As a garden designer, there's nothing I like more than creating beautiful and colorful tapestries of plants. Here, I've created one on the corner of this bed. It's anchored by a large evergreen, a boxwood in a container, but around it I've intentionally kept the plantings low, starting with this beautiful lobularia called Snow Princess. All of those tiny little flowers almost look like a bank of snow. And here next to it, blooming in that beautiful blue color is, well, ageratum artist blue. I love that clear blue color. And next to it is Intensia blueberry phlox, and along the front is Goldilocks rocks. It's a Bidens, and it blooms all summer long. Now at the back of this bed, I've used a variegated coleus. This one's called Color Blaze Alligator Tears. It's the perfect backdrop. The key here was to keep all the plants low, but very colorful and visually impactful. In combinations like this, they really deliver the goods. Coming up, I'll share with you the artful way I design with color in my garden. As a garden designer, one of the things that I really like is symmetry. It's, I guess, a classical principle. If you look at classical gardens, they're balanced and there's symmetry. And in this garden, you can certainly see it. What I've created is a destination, a place to come and sit and relax and just listen to the sound of the water and hear the birds. But in this space, what I've done is I've created a curved hedge with openings in it, with a focal point in each of the openings in the way of an eagle. And along the base of this hedge, I've created a flower bed which is full of white sun patience. In the center is an oval fountain, and surrounding it are planters filled with boxwood and, again, the white sun patience. Just look at these mounds of white. They look like big scoops of ice cream, don't you think? With the containers and beds in place, I can just change these out from one season to the next. For instance, in the early spring, I've used blue hydrangeas in these large containers. Then in the summer, when the temperature goes up and the sun is the brightest, I fill these containers with sun patience because they can really take the heat and the sun. And just look how abundant they are. The beauty of classical design is it embraces symmetry, and the symmetrical nature of it brings harmony, which makes you feel good while you're in the space. When it comes to the flowers, well, they're just the icing on the cake. Up next, I've got some lettuce varieties bringing lots of color and flavor to the garden. Bulbs provide a great way to play with color combinations in your landscaping. You see, you can use a combination of warm and cool colors to create contrast by planting daffodils with muscari or purple hyacinths. If you want a more subtle look, try tulips with complementary colors like yellow and orange or pink and purple. A third idea is color blocking, planting in large masses of the same color to create a big visual impact. Try any of these suggestions to create visual interest in your traditional beds or containers. And for more information on bulb combinations, visit my website. I believe art is everywhere, certainly in the garden. Particularly this time of year, everywhere I look, there is beauty. Take a look at the way we did some planting here by having a little fun with lettuce varieties. What you see here is color blocking using romaine lettuce. This is red romaine planted next to green romaine. And by blocking them, you get this sort of, bold presentation. There are about 5 rows of each of these colors. And then behind me, I offset the green on the opposite side, and here we have the red in the center. So as you can see, you can get creative and have a lot of fun in the garden. Now, if you look at the next raised bed over, you get this sort of blend of both colors of red and green through that beautiful red sale lettuce. So certainly I've convinced you that these lettuces are a feast for the eyes, but they also are great for the table. Now, one of the ways that I like to harvest romaine is that you can come around and you can just pick the outer leaves just like this, just pulling them off. You can see I'm just taking some of these that are just on the outside and leave the internal leaves. These are more mature, and it just is a way to kind of keep lettuce coming along in the garden. Now, the other way is to, at some point, just take the entire head of lettuce, where I just cut it off right at the ground like this. Now, that's the way we usually see it in the supermarket. And you can take this in and you can create a lovely salad with it, or you can strip off a few more of the leaves like this. And then I love to take these and put a little olive oil on them and garlic and roast them on the grill. Makes a delicious salad with maybe a little Caesar dressing on top. Give it a try and bring a little art to your garden.
Hi, I'm Mina Collins, and I'm one of the master gardeners from Pulaski County, and you're here at our project at Heifer International. I'm originally from LA, and my mother is from Arkansas. So we've always had a garden in the backyard, and she's also had beautiful flowers in the front yard. And so gardening has always been a part of my life. This year we've incorporated flowers because we wanted to do something different. We wanted to do something that would be aesthetically pleasing to the eye. When you're growing basically vegetation and herbs, it's all green. So we wanted to, incorporate a little life into it and have more fun. So I'm so excited that Alan was able to send us over some flowers, and it's really opened my eyes to what you can actually do with flowers as far as vegetation. What we did with the bed is we wanted it to be aesthetically pleasing to the eye. He was kind enough to send over some pink flamingos and the sky blue petunias, and sent over these beautiful firecrackers. So we wanted to balance. Let's say that we had 2 pumpkins on the side. We might incorporate flowers in the middle, just to give it that balance. It's really exciting. We get to, try different things. With myself, I started off with herbs, and then it incorporated into vegetables. And now, I'm in love with flowers.
You may not think you have enough space to grow a beautiful garden, but there's some ways that you can actually achieve this that are maybe a little surprising to you. For instance, here, this is a garden where we have 4 raised beds, and in them you cannot believe the amount of produce you can produce in a single growing season. Of course, if you don't have space to plant directly in the ground, containers are an obvious choice. What I like to do is use larger containers, not smaller containers, and I like to use them in groupings. You can get some real visual impact. Containers are also very handy for tucking into tight spaces, and of course you can move them around, so you have some flexibility. Now let's move on to growing things on the vertical. Growing vines on posts, like I've done here, can make an interesting vertical element. Also, using cattle panels to grow vines on can add visual interest to a garden. And if you're really feeling ambitious and love to prune, you might grow some trees in the espalier form. This one is called cordon, where apples grow on it, and the candelabra form is classic, and here you can see pears growing. Lastly, think of dwarf-type shrubs. They're more compact and work great in small spaces. For instance, take this hydrangea. This one's called little lime. It's the smaller version of limelight hydrangea, which is so popular and does so well in sunny areas. You see, plant breeders have been busy to make sure that these plants are perfect for areas with limited space. I hope some of these ideas help you create the perfect garden. Want to learn more? Visit pallansmith.com for delicious recipes, garden tips, blog posts, and our online store. As we've seen in today's show, gardens can take on any size and style. The main thing is to create a garden that reflects your personality. Let's say you love to eat and cook. I certainly do. So why not do a little raised bed in the corner of the garden with some hedges around it where you can grow things like this beautiful arugula. Your garden can be a way to express yourself with color, symmetry, architectural elements, as well as water features. You just name it. The main thing to remember is just get creative and express your own personal style and have some fun with it. Until next time, I'm Alan Smith.